Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. I know this one is a little bit later than most folks, but I wanted to still get it in because it seems like a really fun tag and everyone loves doing it. So I will start off with the first question. The best book that you've read in 2020. So I don't really have a best book that I've read, but I have a best series that I've read, and I thought I would talk about that one. If you have seen my previous videos, you'll probably know which series I'm talking about, and that is the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black. These are the Barnes & Noble editions, and I read this series in 3 days. I read a book a day. It just captivated me. Her writing is amazing, and her characters are just angsty and perfect for captivating my attention. So I really love this series, and it's probably the best thing I read so far this year. The next question is actually what's the best sequel that you read in 2020, and that would be another one from the Cruel Prince series, which is The Wicked King. Now, I have talked about this book and raved about it as my favorite one in the series, and I still stand by that. I think it's July and I can safely say that I'm itching to do a reread, even though I just read these in like February. But I love this book. I thought it was so good. It was so angsty. Everything about it just makes me want to reread it, even if I don't reread The Cruel Prince, which is the first one of this series. If you haven't gotten your hands on this series, I highly recommend. The Cruel Prince can be a little slow in terms of a first book, but The Wicked King just dives right into the story, and it is amazing. The next question is a new release that you haven't read but really want to, and this is actually one in my July TBR. So if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend that you go and watch it right after this one, and that would be Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. This is about a memory thief who has really strong magic in this world. She had been kidnapped and taken to a palace when she was just a child, and now she is trying to go and save the love of her life. So it's definitely intriguing. I think there's going to be a lot of royal politics involved, especially with her magic. I love memory type of magic, and I think it's going to be really intriguing. And I have also really loved Zoraida Cordova as an author since last year. If you read any of her books, let me know. I'd love to meet someone else that loves her writing, but so far this is one of my most anticipated reads for 2020, and I'm excited that it's finally come out. The next question is my most anticipated read for the second half of the year, and that would definitely be Star Daughter. I have heard so much about this. I think a few booktubers are talking about this on their channels as well, but for me it just seemed perfect. I think it's a bit of Hindu mythology mixed in with celestial type of themed magic, and I am in love. I am so excited. I have been waiting for this book ever since I heard about it, and the release date, which I think is in August, just cannot come soon enough. The fifth question is the biggest disappointment that I've had this year in terms of reading a book, and that would be Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This book just fell flat for me. I know a lot of folks really love it because it's witty, it's pithy, and it's very well written, but the story for me kind of dragged on too long, and even though the writing was funny and pithy and there was a lot to take in from it, I just felt like it just took too long to get to where it was supposed to go, and there's a million footnotes in this, like just a ton of footnotes. So that also takes you a while to get through because it's almost kind of like reading a literature paper. I know that I think Netflix or Amazon Prime has picked this up as a series, and I heard that that's really good. I haven't watched it yet because I'm still getting over the disappointment of this book for me. I know it's raved about on Goodreads, but for me it was just a no, and I might check out the series and see if that's any better. I think maybe without the footnotes I could probably stomach this. I'm hoping it'll be funnier as a series on TV. The sixth question is my biggest surprise of 2020, and that would have to be Monstrous. I think I forgot how much I loved graphic novels. I used to read them and like swallow them right up as a kid, and I just haven't really been reading them a lot. This year I dove into a few series. One of them was Monstrous, and it is amazing. I've shown this before, but the art style in this book is just absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it, but it is just really beautiful. The aesthetic, it's usually pretty dark, but it's got this very rich sheen of color in it, and I personally just can't get enough. I think for the month of July I'll also be reading the second one in the series, which I haven't read before, but it's just one of those graphic novels that I'm happy to buy and keep, whereas most graphic novels I'll read once and I won't want to reread them. But this one is definitely rich in its story. So the next question is my favorite author that I've discovered this year, and my biggest discovery of an author that I love is Holly Black. Now, I mentioned the Cruel Prince series a bunch, and I have to say I've only read those 3 books by her, but they were enough to get me loving her. If I'm reading a series by an author and they make me like gobble it up that fast, I love them as an author. I have to read her other books, so if anyone has any recommendations of what I should read next from Holly Black, please let me know in the comments down below so I can check out that next book from her. So the next question gets a little intimate. I don't know if I want to answer this, especially because my boyfriend's probably watching, but you know, don't take this personally, honey. The next question is my newest fictional crush, and I've chosen 2 because I feel like they've equally been competing for my affections in the literature world, and that would be Cardan from the Cruel Prince series, and also Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I know Avatar is like a cartoon series, but still I felt like I should mention him because I just watched the entire series all the way through on Netflix, and I'm in love. Yeah, those are the 2 that I would choose. And I think that says enough about me right there. The next question is my newest favorite fictional character in general. So I've only read 1 book in this series, and that was Assassin's Blade, but so far my newest favorite fictional character this year has been Selena in the Throne of Glass series. I have yet to read the actual Throne of Glass novel, but I really loved her character in Assassin's Blade. She just seems so complex and just like such an interesting character, and I think it's hard to make characters in fantasy novels sometimes so complex and interesting, and I really liked how she's written so far. I don't know if we're gonna get other characters in the series, please don't spoil it for me, but so far Selena is where it's at for me in terms of a new favorite character. The next question is a book this year that made me cry, and honestly there's been movies and episodes in Avatar: Last Airbender that have made me cry, but there hasn't actually been a book this year that's made me cry. So I think my answer for this one is just that there hasn't been a book yet that's made me cry. I don't know if the second half of the year is gonna bring one that's gonna just come and shake up my emotional world and make me cry, but I haven't read one yet this year. The next one is a book that made you happy, and this is a book that I also read really quickly in the beginning of the year, and this one is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I know that there's a lot of controversy right now with Rainbow Rowell, but as much as I'm not loving the author and her views right now, the book still holds true, and it did make me happy when I read it. It's definitely one that I would reread just because the story is really cute. So yeah. The next question is the most beautiful book I've bought or received this year, and that is The Kingdom of Back by Mary Lou. This was an Crate exclusive cover and sprayed edges with the gilded silver edges, and they are just super stunning. The book itself is really stunning. There's like the embossment, there's just the beautiful blues. Everything about this is beautiful. This was another one of my anticipated releases for the year, so I'm really excited that I got like a super stunning copy of this in a book box. The next question is, what books do I want to read before the end of the year? And there are a couple that come to mind. The first one is 1984 by George Orwell. I really feel like it's definitely a relevant book to read right now. I started reading that book a long time ago, but I never actually finished, and it's one of those classics that I want to have read because I know a lot of other books are based on it or develop it further in their stories, so I want to have that as a base going forward. The next books I want to read are the Children of Blood and Bone series by Tomi Adeyemi. That one just seems really interesting, really up my alley. And also Kingdom of Souls by Rana Barron. I just purchased a copy of Kingdom of Souls, so I'm gonna have a physical one here because the cover is stunning. I ordered the UK cover, so I find it even more beautiful than the US cover. That one is about a witch doctor, and I haven't read any good witch doctor stories lately, so I am just so excited to finally be reading that one. A witch doctor story in a book where the witch doctor is the main theme of magic instead of a side theme. I've read a lot of books and a lot of TV shows where witch doctor or that type of magic is a side magic, but it's not the main magic. So I'm really happy that we have a book that explores it as its main type of magic. The final question is my favorite book community member. Now, I am still relatively new to the book community, and I'm active on Instagram and Twitter and obviously YouTube, so I'll leave those links down below if you want to go and follow me on any of those. And I've connected with a few booktubers so far, and they've all been great and wonderful, but I'm still new and I'm still discovering a bunch of YouTubers and Instagrammers and Twitterers. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and please subscribe to my channel. It really helps to support my channel. Thank you.